There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GuMPer morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GuMPer.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, GuMPers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. Mrs. M will be joining me presently. Isn't that a lovely British word, presently? And yes, happy Feel Good Friday to you. We'll be here with some physical and mental festive fitness, of course, on the third Friday of the month. Big Phil and Coach Turner join us, and they'll be bringing their unique take on fitness. Coach Turner with specializing on the physical fitness, but with a thing or two to say about the mentality of staying well. And Phil Cooklin, of course, of Kuwudu, talking primarily about getting your mind right for the results you want in life. But also, I'm sure we'll have a thing or two to say about physical fitness because Michael will be joining us as well, talking about the peak of physical fitness. Those World Cup players will be taking part in the Supreme Tournament on Sunday. So Michael Heron here to talk about that. If he can barely contain himself. And we'll have special guest Kari Prescott joining us as well, talking about the workshops that she's organized over this weekend. Man flu, not too bad. Thank you. Thank you for your... I think just one person. That's part of the lonely road of man flu. Just one person sent me get well soon greetings, but they seem to have worked. Thank you, Francis, who sent in this picture as well. We talked yesterday, didn't we, about optimists and pessimists. Some see the glass as half empty, others see the glass as half full. I just wonder who the hell is drinking my beer. That's Francis, who's having a lovely break at the moment and sent me a fantastic still of where he is, where the Adam Sandler film Blended was shot. I think I've got to watch the film first before I share that with you. Adam Sandler can be a little bit, patchy, can't he, with his brilliance. But then again, you know, who can't? Mrs. M is about to join us on the screen. You can hear her expensive office chair creaking. Or I can anyway. Let's bring her sound on before her visual so you can hear more of the creaking and giggling and rumbling over there. Oh, beautiful pictures just in. So yes, it's been a while actually.
I thought you were just saying, oh, beautiful picture coming in, like with me.
Oh, of course, that goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Beautiful picture incoming of Mrs. M. Are you ready?
I'm not sure.
Oh, she's tucking bits of hair in.
I'm still not sure where my hair goes.
Yeah,
exactly. Hang on.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to do a Bridget Nielsen.
What does that mean?
Well, kind of not naked or.
Okay. Oh, no, I'm thinking of Fatal Attraction. That wasn't Bridget Nielsen, was it?
I'm thinking that just swept off my face.
Swept off your face? She walked in the room and swept me off my face. Wipe that look off my face. So, you ready now?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Just say when then. When?
The
tension's killing everybody.
Go on, let's do it.
Bridget Nielsen, everybody.
Not at all.
Okay. Was she the one who was married to Sly?
I've no idea.
I think she was married to Sly Stallone for a little while.
Let me just look her up.
Seriously, is that what you're going to do straight away?
Why not?
Obviously.
You say these facts. I should.
All right. Good morning, James. Moaz is here. Fantastic. Marcus, hello. Sarah is here too. James. We've shifted, haven't we, from Yogi Berra quotes of the day to who do we? James, not James Handy. Somebody called Handy. Anyway, we might have some handies from Andy a little bit later on. T-Duck, so great to see you both yesterday. Fantastic to see you both. Coach Turner's already in, and I'll let you deliver your own Coach Turner God Squad tip of the day later on when you appear on the screen.
She was married to Sylvester Stallone.
You can't get any celebrity goss past me.
That was 4 husbands ago. Like
4 husbands.
Well, he was her second husband.
Yeah.
And then she's got a further 3. one that she's still married to.
Wow, well done, Bridget.
Yeah, and maybe it was a little bit ambitious of me to say I'm doing a Bridget Nelson, because she's like one of these really like stunning, handsome looking women. But she has a quiff. That's what I meant.
She does, doesn't she? Oh yeah, I see what you mean now. You're still
Not
adjusting your
I
quiff.
just can't do it. Oh, hang on.
Okay, all right. Live hair.
There you
this
go.
is like an Insta channel, isn't it, babes?
I feel like a scrappy dog now. You know,
all right, let me just put a picture of this while you're still adjusting. Here's the Ericeira sky between the rains. Isn't that lovely? That's a proper old-fashioned cloud there, not the sort of clouds that arouse suspicion in you. But
no, that's a lovely. Do you know what? Like when we first came over to Portugal, one of the first things we noticed, maybe about 4 weeks in, like when we arrived, people had said, this has been the hottest summer of the year. This was in 2017.
Is that
and
right? The hottest summer of the year?
For years and years and years. Like we've had no rain.
Yeah.
And when we first got there, for the first 3 or 4 weeks, the sky was just completely bright blue, like really scorching bright blue.
Oh yeah.
Not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
And then we saw it for the first time, one of these massive, big, fluffy
an
clouds.
anvil cloud, I thought.
Is that what? Yeah.
No, well, it had this an incredible shape to it, didn't it?
Yeah, and we were really taken back by it, because we then realised that we hadn't seen any real proper shaped clouds
since Ladybird books of our childhood.
Years. Yeah, since our childhood, maybe my teens in my case, but
oh, very good, nicely done.
But it's been a long time, and that's one of the things I love about Portugal is that you actually do get to see some proper beautiful clouds. Very, very different.
Excellent. Good morning, Chris Smith, and especially to Joyce Smith, whose birthday is today.
Oh, happy birthday, Joyce.
It feels like ages ago, doesn't it, since they came to see us?
Yeah, ages.
Happy birthday to you. Lovely picture on Facebook from Chris this morning, celebrating his beloved's birthday. So she's a reluctant GuMPer, though.
Is she?
Chris was first.
I am a bit as well, actually. I love being here.
As if having man flu wasn't enough, you are now saying things like that.
No. I'm still getting used to like being part of a group that has a name, like a collective name. Oh, I've eschewed that my whole life.
And you've even got your own nickname, Mrs. M. You're part of a cult now.
Yeah, well, I don't mind being Mrs. M, because in fact I was Mrs. M before I joined the show, wasn't I?
Well, maybe you need a special GuMPer nickname.
Or you've referred to me as Mama M as well, haven't you?
Just think, you could have a special initiation, and then you would get the Barcelo Bugle as
really?
well. The whole was it the slightly embarrassed cynic in you? Hold on a minute, that ticket tape's lost a bit at the end there.
It's just
not happy about that.
I think I've never been part of a gang before.
And how do you feel being part of this gang?
Well, I love the people, but I struggle with with the sort of identity of saying, check me out, I'm a GuMPer.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Anyone else in that condition that we can help?
Please forgive me, GuMPers. It's not that I don't want to be associated with you. It's just I'm not used to having names.
Okay, I dare say you're not alone in that, and other people will say similar things. Like, I do share your awkwardness with this. I don't at all. I love it.
No, but wherever you've gone, you've created names wherever you've gone, haven't you?
sounds like when I should be on an Interpol's person of interest list.
Well, no. Well, I mean, you are interesting, but when you were at Hannah's, the large charity that we volunteered and worked for, you created the Hannah's All Stars, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. And people did get nicknames, didn't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. Okay. That's now I'm uncomfortable with that insight into my personality. Bob's here as well, and by Randy too. Everyone's a little bit
quiet today.
Well, not quiet, I would say, but sort of creeping in slowly this morning.
It's the end of the week, isn't it?
It is, and I'm no one to talk. I've still got a bottle of Berão on the desk here. From the party last night with Expats Portugal. That was fantastic, the Christmas party last night.
I did wonder why that was
there.
Everybody
who came along. Call me what you want, but don't call me late for dinner.
Oh.
Made me laugh, that did. Antonio Barbosa says that, doesn't he? You can call me anything you like, but don't ask me to work, ask me to lunch, is what he says as well. Along those. Are you having Berão now?
I'm doing one for you. You need it.
Oh, thank you very much. A medicinal Berão. Okay, that's good. Okay, where's that? That ticker tape keeps disappearing. Is that you that's messing about like that behind the scenes?
I'm not doing it.
Okay, so I think that's working now. And yes, talking of Antonio Barbosa, those pictures have turned up again.
Oh wow!
What is this
how
about?
Bizarre.
Those are the Cromlech pictures again. Stop notifying me, Facebook, of things. Now, this is great. The problem,
Facebook was listening to your show yesterday, maybe.
Yeah, maybe these are ancient computers. Maybe that's what they really are. Oh, no. It can't have been that. This is a coincidence. This is a picture by Kat Pueka of the Cromlech stones, and with a quote that says, "The problem is not that computers start to think like us, but we start to think like them." And that's Eric Fromm. Eric Fromm is hugely underrated. He wrote a book called To Have or To Be and The Art of Loving. Really good books that changed my life as a teenager. And also, very thoughtfully, Antonio Barbosa is saying good morning to everybody. He's our man in the Minho, of course. And he's saying good morning. Can you recognize these good mornings? Bon dia. Buen dia. Buenos dias. Bon dia. Bonjour. Can't read that one in Greek. Buongiorno. Guten Morgen. Egon on. Good morgen. Maiden chamaith. God morgen. Goan dagin. That's a good one, isn't it? Dobra ranjo. Mira Minges.
You know, he could just slip in a few rude words.
I think he
without
did
you knowing.
with Mira Minges there. Guandagin. First thing on a Friday morning. Dzień dobry, dobre jutro, buona dimineața, magandang omaga. I'm murdering good morning all over the world this morning. Borada, that's Welsh, isn't it? And good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody, from Antonio Barbosa there. That is lovely, Antonio. And those Cromlech stones popping up. Should we find out how to say good morning in Norwegian now?
Yes.
See what I did there?
Yes, I was just about to say
Kari
the same.
Prescott is with us. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, my love. How are you?
Good morning. That was a nice transition. We say god morgen. God morgen.
No, very good.
And if you want to do it like slang-wise, you just say morna.
Morna. Oh, that's lovely. Okay. Yeah, let's confuse people this morning with that, shall we? Morna was that.
That's like warm.
Morna.
That's warm. That's warm in Portuguese as well.
Yeah.
All that gibberish I was listening backstage reminded me of when I read Finnegan's Wake.
I don't know that of that word.
I don't
Do
know
you?
that. No.
Tell us more about that.
Oh, it's like Old English and gibberish mixed up. It's like a crazy book. It doesn't make any sense, but it's still funny.
like
You
your
should
show,
read it.
hopefully. Okay, we were happy with that comparison. Doesn't make any sense. It's funny. I'm happy with that.
It's good. It's good.
You seem to be having quite a nice time here in Portugal.
Yeah.
I am. I'm having such a good time. And what I came for was plastic, but what I've found is like lots of nice people. So it's been good.
Oh, that's one of the best quote ever. I came for plastic and I found nice people.
Yeah.
What a lovely turn for the books. Well, that is super.
Oh, wow. Check out all that
my
plastic.
word. Hold on, we're zooming in. What's going on?
Well, this is what I've collected so far.
Yeah.
It's not actually that much, but it's been so rainy. I haven't really been out so much. My favorite find so far is this like doll leg.
Yes.
She's going to be very useful.
That's kind of
But I've also found some seasonal things like this here Christmas flower.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you have like the usuals, like these kind of fishing industry things and floaties.
Oh, wow.
Oh, is that what that is? I noticed the lure, but I'll catch up. Oh, you can reuse that.
I found three of these.
No way.
And then you have
well, you might need to put around this.
From a crate. This is from some sort of
colander.
Yeah. Oh, colander. That's right.
Bucket list. I mean, some things are quite, you recognize them. But then you get something like this, which impossible to say where it came from. But
a chair, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, possibly. But I like how the ocean sort of shapes things because.
Like life shapes.
Salt in the sand, it kind of like, makes it nice.
May I just say?
Hold on, Mrs. M's trying to give us some context here.
Carl hasn't actually explained why you collect plastic. And so people might be thinking, what's that woman doing? Coming over to Portugal to go and collect plastic off the beach. That's a bit strange.
Very good intervention.
So would you like to sort of give a bit of context, one of you?
Yeah.
Why all this plastic? Well, I'm an artist, first of all. So I'm here to collect materials and I use plastic to make art. And I also do workshops. which is basically how I make a living back in Norway. I travel around to schools and do workshops with kids.
Yes. Okay,
Speaking of,
yes, please, you're here to tell us about this morning, and I'm putting your Instagram. This is what really sets the scene. Your fabulous work on Instagram here. The early picture there of you working and some advertisements. And as we scroll down, we see the incredible vibrancy of your work and how what you just said comes together in the work that you produce, which I think is stunning. And you'll be working with,
I love that, Robin,
with kids and parents tomorrow, won't you? Helping them create things that look like this. Because sometimes when you go on an artist workshop, you're thinking, you imagine you might create something that looks a little bit like the artist creates. And what I've seen with you, Kari, is that you actually encourage kids to make something that looks a lot like the work you create. I mean, you've got that additional X factor, no question, but the kids can go away very proud of themselves, can't they, with the level of work they're able to create?
They can, and I'll demonstrate for you right now how easy it is, because I have the workshop box here, which we will use.
Yeah, go ahead.
So all the plastic you just saw that I picked is not like, this is not washed yet. It's just raw from the beach. But then in this box, I select pieces and clean them and organize them by shape and size. And so something like this could be a body. And then I stick on an eye. And I'm using this like a sticky tack. You can use any brand. And I usually make fish or birds to sort of highlight the animals that struggle with this material. So now with 3 pieces in, it's already starting to look like...
It's beginning to look a lot like a bird.
And then you just keep going. And this is one of the things I do with kids at my workshop, and it's so much fun. And you can bring so much personality to the to whatever you're making just by how you position your pieces. So like,
beautiful,
incredible.
So here you've got like a little bird. Maybe it needs a wing. There we go. And you can change sort of the personality. Maybe he's like in a hurry and he's running, or maybe he really needs the loo and his legs are crossed.
Yes.
And if you lift the beak, he's a little bit, more optimistic. But if you put it down, he's really sad. So you can have a lot of fun with just a few pieces is all you need. And then I take a picture on a colored background, and it ends up like this.
Yes,
really
that's incredible.
And,
thank you for showing us the magic, the stages. Look at that, you see?
It's very fun. And you take a photo with your phone. I have a pop-up studio with a colored background that, like in a light tent and everything. And they're really fun. And you can take, make as many as you like, and you take your own photo and you keep it in your phone. And then comes the sad bit. You have to slaughter your animal.
No!
Actually, we've experienced that, haven't we?
Dramatic music. Cute.
Yes.
No, because the thing is, I use the plastic over and over and over and over again. And so you have to take it apart so that it can become something new. And then I've brought sort of recycling and reuse into the process as well.
So these are mandalas as well, then, right? The kids learn to let go as well as capturing and
exactly.
Creating. They learn to let go.
It's almost like a circular economy, so to speak. But
yes.
And hang on, just one second. I just I have an assistant today.
Wow.
Fancy.
One of those.
Yeah, that'd be
nice.
That
was good, wasn't it? Yeah, very good.
I just wanted to No, I wanted to show you another picture real quick.
Fantastic.
That I've just to show the variation of what you can create. Because what I did now was just putting 4 or 5 pieces together. But this is a picture I made before I came, which is of a Nazare boat.
Yes.
And I mean, this is a print. It's flat, obviously, but it was much bigger when I made it. But it can be printed in different sizes, which is the benefit of prints, and I can make more than one.
Yeah.
But the actual work, again, is taken apart. So nothing I make sort of exists still. It's all temporary. But I just thought for the locals, this might be kind of a fun.
Without a doubt. Very special.
shamelessly promoting.
That's what
I know,
you're here for.
you
That's what you- and
should.
you know, you
beautiful.
inspired our whole family.
Yeah.
Because we met you at the meetup first of all in San
Yeah.
and our kids, well, you took them for a beach find, didn't you?
Yeah.
A beach comb.
Yeah. The last time I went to the meetup, we saw you, didn't we, Carrie? And we had seen you the Sunday before at the GuMPer Christmas fair.
Oh yeah, Salud de Porto, Quinta
Yeah.
Salud de Porto.
And so we got some recycling bags out of the back of the car, which I use for collecting seaweed, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's why our car smells like it does.
Yes. And we just got our Macs on and we went down to the beach and we found lots of little bits and pieces and it was so exciting. The kids loved it. We did it for ages and it started raining and they didn't even notice.
No,
which is a real good
they were
indication.
deeply, Minnie especially, deeply engaged.
Yeah,
deeply engaged.
and then I just happened to have a pad and funnily enough some blue tack in my bag.
Yeah.
And we just sat at the cafe.
That bag of yours is amazing. Though. That's a fire extinguisher. There's all sorts in there.
It never has like useful mum things like wet wipes, but it's always got homeopathy, a pen, and maybe some Uno cards or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, we started to play around with it at the table. I mean, our pieces were unwashed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We still had some fun with it.
Sure.
Yeah, it was.
They loved it.
I was so like touched by that because at the market I had a few prints, obviously, but I had a few pieces of actual plastic to play around with as well. And the fact that that the kids just were so inspired in the moment and then followed it up and like kept going with it. It was just like I felt like success. My work here is done.
Oh, absolutely. It's true. It's true.
It's great, and that's why I do this. It's to inspire the kids and to bring that awareness in a fun way that engages. Because if you just, talk about all the sad facts about plastic in the ocean, it's not very motivating.
Yes,
but to kind of pair it with that engagement and excitement and creativity, then it's much easier to have a focus on it. And they'll still be picking up plastic, they'll still be learning about it, but they have like a whole different attitude and feeling towards it. And I think that's really important to sustain like a longer engagement.
I think you're right. Absolutely spot on. And they get a chance to do this with you tomorrow and on Sunday. So tell us about these workshops that are coming up this weekend in the Silver Coast.
Well, I've got 2 workshops this weekend. One in Caldas from 10 to 1. That one's for parents and kids together. So they get to enjoy each other before the holiday and have some time to just have fun and not just stress around. And then on Sunday, there's one in Alfaizarao. That one is from 3 to 5. And that one's just for kids. And that one's 8+, but the one in Caldas is 10+. So it's like a little bit of a more, how should I say, older group. Because we're going to do this, what I just showed you, which is really fun. But we'll also try and make one of the little bit more complex pictures, like the ones you've pulled up now.
Yes.
And we're going to have some discussions. We're going to play some games with plastic and do some detective work and try and find out where some pieces actually came from. So it's kind of like a few different tasks in there. And then there'll be like a little break with some snacks, and so it'll be fun.
Excellent. That sounds great. We'll see you on Sunday.
Yes, we will.
We look forward to that. And before we can let people know, can't we, that you work with adults as well in a corporate situation.
I do. I've done that. I've done like these kickstarts, and team building sort of things. And adults have just as much fun as the kids.
Once they get started.
Once you get started, it's so fun, and you kind of just become a kid again. And it's, of course, adults kind of also see maybe the deeper level of, what this materials represents. But still, it's actually really fun. So, and the best thing is when you get the results, you can't really tell if it's made by a kid or an adult. Because it just, like I made this, but it might as well have been made by a kid. Hang on.
Yeah, our kids would have made that, wouldn't they?
Well, so it could be.
So hold it. Yeah, there it is. Look, that was made this morning, and there's a whole, sort of provenance backstory to it. I mean, you made it very quickly, and that is your skill. But for that to have happened required so much from so many
Well,
people.
it required, collecting plastic for years. I've been doing this for 12 years. So, and in the beginning, I didn't really know what I would make with it. I just collected it, and lots of it, and big things. Like I brought tires and whatever home from the beach. The yard looked like a skip, but eventually sort of figured out what I wanted to do with it, and now I work with smaller pieces that are easier to manage and easier to send home, because I travel to collect plastic from like Portugal, Spain, England, and I'll send plastic home in the post in boxes and take it home in suitcases. It was stopped in the toll once. They're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Art materials." So,
Incredible. There's a funny man in here as well. We'll come back to him in just a minute. Look at him. We'll come back to him in just a minute. Do you help somebody like this on one of your workshops, or what do you think? I don't know. We'll find out what the backstory is there in just a minute. Kari, good luck with workshops. And if people want to book you for I think you might get flown around the world. Our company needs this. Somebody might say, "We'll have a team build. We'll do something good."
Well, I have been flown to Svalbard with my work, and I was going to be flown to Geneva in 2020, but COVID, because we were meant to pick up a UN prize.
Were you?
Wow.
Quite right.
I work with another artist as well, so we've built quite the project over the years.
And that will be
anyway.
Mr. Anderson, right? That will be the Anderson part of your Instagram here. And
that was my assistant. He arrived yesterday.
Hi, fantastic.
So actually, bonus, he'll be at the workshops. I didn't want to advertise that, because I didn't know if he'd make it down in time, but he will. So there'll be like the two of us. Yes. And I guess you'll add in the show notes the events on Facebook so people can find the workshops.
Do that for you, and people could get in, if they want to fly you out to parts of the world, they can get in touch with you via Instagram. And at the moment, your assistant sounds like mysterious and from the Matrix, Mr. So we'll get to meet in person on Sunday, which is fantastic. So, Kari, thank you so much. Thank you for being in Portugal.
Thank you.
What a talent, Moaz says. This is so cool. And what great fun. You must bring a lot of joy to the children. So a warm reception, a hot reception, hot plastic reception here.
You also got this comment, which I think is really funny.
You got all that for free? Well, hard work.
Time and effort.
Absolutely. Well, all the best to you. We'll see you Sunday.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it. And thank you for having me on. Bye.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for such a thorough demonstration as well. Really appreciate what you put in this morning. Okay. Ciao. See you. Wow, amazing.
Yeah,
there you go. Instagram.com/Prescott and .Anderson there. There are some strange gentlemen who will be joining us on the show. Give them a long ovation, shall we now? Mark, bon de alegria. Let's get that applause going and welcome onto the screen. Funny man Phil, Coach Turner, and Michael Heronius Maximus.
You know
gentlemen, what's going on here?
I should go and leave it to be more of a boy thing.
Is the smell of testosterone upsetting you?
It's
Her ovaries are twitching.
My ovaries are twitching in a massive way. Well, I'm like on cue of babies.
Talking of, well, we saw Ian Turner tickling the ovaries the other, tickling the ivories. I think we didn't. What your Christmas Advent calendar? He never goes anywhere without his piano. So what's that? What was that?
I couldn't take this anywhere. It's a huge thing.
And you're sat at the piano. Is that where you do your Zoom call? Sat at the piano, just in case you need to add a sound effect or do a silent movie.
Just today, yeah, something like that. Just today, because I've got the Christmas tree in the background and there's sort of snowy stuff outside.
It's all because Christmas in Hertfordshire. Yes. Now, talking of cold snow outside, Phil, what's happened? What are you homeless? What are you doing?
She finally kicked me out. What can I say? She said, "That's it. I'm taking the van. I'm off." And she left me on a bench, but she left my phone in the rather handy stand that I've got it on. The rules are this: if Lady K is working, it takes priority over everything else. and she is working this morning. So I said, well, let's do it outside in the fresh air. It's a bright, beautiful, I don't think I've captured it, but it's absolutely beautiful out here this morning. The cold wind has gone, so it doesn't feel like -8. It only feels like -1. So it actually feels, because temperature's just a comparative. If you go from -8 to -1, you start feeling warmer than you did.
Great.
Does that make sense? Because you got used to -8. So actually, it's not too bad. I've got my coffee and my hat on, and I always remember Billy Connolly. He wasn't the originator of this phrase. I do believe it came from a program called Coast to Coast. But I remember he was the first person I say, "There's no such thing as bad weather, just the wrong clothing."
Yes.
And
so true.
We have clothing for everything here. So I am toasty warm, to be totally honest with you. I'm just playing on the emotional heartstrings.
It worked. It definitely works.
It does.
Can we have some sad music from the piano or some of that? Michael Heron looking nice and warm with just 2 layers on there.
I was going to say, the reason it's a bit dark in here is I had to close the blinds because the sun coming in, because it's about like 17 degrees this morning here. So we couldn't have more of a contrast between chilled Phil and Ian and Michael today. But yeah, I'm very, very happy to be here with you all.
Well, and if that wasn't warm enough, fever pitch for you. You're here to talk about the upcoming, the climax of the footballing calendar, right? There's no bigger game in the world, obviously, than the World Cup final, which is happening on Sunday. So we'll talk with you about that. I'm not sure how long you can be with us, Michael, but it's important, isn't it? Even though some of our favourite teams aren't in, because 30 of the teams can't be in it. Only 2 go through, of course, in the World Cup final. There is disappointment for people, but still, it is a tournament you can get yourself behind and get into the excitement, even if you're not particularly fond of football. And you join us on the morning where Portugal has let its coach go. What do you make of that?
Yeah, we should talk about that as well. Well, just briefly, as you said, mate, so we started the tournament nearly a month ago with 830 players, and on Sunday, 22 will start the game and decide who will be the world champion. So it's an exciting occasion. But yeah, the resignation of Santos. Do you know what? I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm gonna call out my Portuguese brothers and sisters a little bit this morning. I'm a little bit disappointed with the reaction of the media and a lot of people I've seen on social media. Everyone's kind of like, good riddance, but forgetting, he's brought the only major trophy they've ever won in their history and the League of Nations in 2019. So I feel a little bit, people are kind of forgetting that he is responsible for the greatest success they ever had. So I felt it was a little bit unfair with some of the criticism. I know he can be stubborn and he's made some decisions people aren't happy with, but be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. That's what I
well said. But I mean, it's the same. In the big glamorous fields of life, this is what happens. You're only as good as your last result, I guess, aren't you? Yeah. And people do forget about things that happened in the past.
Yeah. No, it's true, and it'll be the same for Southgate as well. He's had a lot of criticism, and he's arguably the most successful England manager we've ever had, even though he hasn't won anything. But getting to a final, a semi-final, and a quarter-final. So yeah, fans can be a bit selfish and a bit,
Yeah, only remembered.
Can you put that in context?
Well, my love life. You only remembered for your last result. Phil's nodding. He knows what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Phil, did you want to add something? He's got gloves.
Nonsense, Carl. It's your hole, Carl. Stop digging.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that advice.
Good advice, Phil.
Okay, thank you so much. We're having physical and mental fitness for the festive period, as well as the World Cup action this morning. Of course, Phil, a master of how the mind works and manifest the results we want in life. We love talking to Phil about that. Coach Turner, a fantastic service throughout the year. Have you been doing God Squad Tips of the Day all this year, Ian?
I can't remember when they started, to be honest, Carl.
Right.
But yeah, it seems like longer.
Well, thank you. You've outlasted today in Portuguese history because you were rubbing shoulders, weren't you, with the prof who was supplying?
Yeah,
that fell by the wayside, and he was a sprinter, and you turned out to be the marathon runner.
And it's funny, isn't it?
Yes, and you've got something. It is funny how things work out. And there is a vacancy there for today in Portuguese history. You began this morning. Looking forward to joining you in a little while, helping you bon viveurs offset the festive indulgences. And that's your angle, of course, because it is a time of excess, isn't it? Christmas. And so if you want to put this yourself, feel free. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a warm-up routine that just about every athlete that exists uses, and it's called leg swings. And you do them either side to side or forwards and backwards. And it really releases all the muscles around your hips and your groin and your glutes. But it's also quite a good exercise. So actually, I could probably
I think
try to demonstrate. I'll try to demonstrate.
Okay, somebody put on Twitter, there is swinging going on the Good Morning Portugal show. Live swinging. Live swinging.
Yeah, I've just got there's a back of a sofa just here to balance.
There's no one asleep on it, is there?
No, not today.
Right. Okay.
And this, so the forwards to backwards one is just if you could just.
That's quite impressive.
These trousers are a bit.
I was going to say.
A bit on the tight side. I'm going out in a little while, so I've got running tights underneath walking trousers, and it's not.
He's regretting it.
It's all a bit squeezed in.
Good point, Phil. Ian, did you just say running tights?
Yeah. I did. Running tights. Yeah.
Can you show us? No, it's okay.
No.
I can't. You won't see it.
That's when Louisa's paid now, isn't it? Notice how she hasn't gone yet. I
want to find out what you guys are up to do.
So that's the forward and backwards one, and then you can do the same. This is a bit low, but you do the same with that.
Oh my word!
Oh wow, look at that.
So side to side, and gradually, even if
you can't see it. Oh, okay, I'll show you later.
I just saw him go to undo the top of his trousers,
and then it went off. That's our web guard. It's working.
Is it the white guard?
Yes.
You've got child lock on it.
That's impressive, though, Ian. We just
Carl is actually crying.
We just needed the Monty Python music for the first bit.
I can't play the piano as well.
No, okay.
Well, I can't play the piano anyway, but I can tinkle it.
You can tinkle it. That's the swinging there. And that's continuation there.
Yeah. So that just describes how to do it. But it's just a very good exercise. And if you start off not having done it ever, or you could just try it, and gradually you'll find over a few days, a few weeks, your range of movement improves. So
yes,
it just helps keep things in good nick.
Okay,
but it's quite a good exercise. You find it's actually quite hard work after a while.
No question. And you mentioned the bon viveurs. This is the balanced approach to enjoying life and to staying fit. Most people's approach to Christmas is like, I'm not doing any exercise. I'm just going to overindulge myself, set a resolution at the Christmas table, and then not do that either in the new year. What you sound like you're suggesting is like, keep going, doing some exercise and enjoy yourself at the same time. It doesn't have to be either or, does it?
I think the best thing is just to get out for a walk.
Yeah.
During Christmas, because you just feel so full most of the time.
Yes.
So getting that helps settle everything down. I think. I've got a little robin just under our.
Could it get any more Christmassy at your house?
It couldn't. It's in the snow. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, what else does he need? I think Santa and those reindeers just flew past at the back there. Oh no! Is that your place?
That's some sort of genius.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. It really is truly festive at yours. And what should we do on the warm up for the indulgence then? Should we be warming up with that as well? Should we be having a little bear hour in the mornings as I'm doing this morning for medicinal purposes?
Bear hour. There's the thing. I hadn't actually considered that. Mulled wine is one of my favourites this time of year.
That's the bon viveur. Glühwein there. Okay.
Yeah,
well, thank you.
Get down the bottom of a ski slope, and a large mug of Glühwein is just a perfect day.
Ooh, Phil, go on.
I perfected that by not going to the top of the hill, just going straight into the I cut out the middleman completely. Fantastic.
Yeah.
No, there's something about doing a bit of exercise and then rewarding yourself.
Yes,
Especially in the sort of crisp cold, like Phil and I have got here.
Yes,
There's something life affirming about that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I get you. So before we talk more about the World Cup, your preparations, Phil, the mental preparations for Christmas. I mean, the cliche in a way, isn't it, is to say, how are we going to cope with Christmas, which is rather an onerous way of looking at it, isn't it? But I do understand why people do that, and it's important too, if you're expecting difficult challenges ahead at Christmas time, which you can bring to get into the right mental state. What are your thoughts on this then, Phil, for manifesting the sort of Christmas you'd ideally like? That's your game, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It is part, and it's something that's always ongoing. We have on one of our dream boards on the roof of the van, it says great family relations. That's one, and also like-minded friends. It would be fair to say that a decade ago, the family relations weren't great because of all the stuff we were going through. So that went on the dream board, and it stayed ever since. And I'm now convinced, absolutely convinced, that even those people that you are going to meet, that you are going to meet, if there's a family get together and a certain person is likely to be there, just remember, they're there to teach you some of the skills you have yet to learn, right? They're there to help you develop. Yes. They're there to help you develop. And Kimberly would always say this. She has this wonderful phrase that says, they are the better for knowing, which I think, generally speaking, you should definitely go for they are the better for knowing. Have I frozen here?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Well, physically.
Yes, not technologically.
So that's the one side of it. The next side of it is there are going to be people that you're going to see who you're going to love meeting, who you enjoy meeting every time. Maybe it's just having a little bit of extra time with the kids. Maybe it's extra time with a loved one. Maybe it's just a good friend who you're going to reconnect with. So, for example, I'm driving from Cornwall Christmas Eve up to Leicester to meet up with my son, and we're going to the rugby together because and it's a time when he's got a little bit of extra time, I have, so you can do these things. Take joy out of that time that you're being given at this time and do the most with it. And I'd also say that for a lot of people, for a lot of us, there are things that you remember, challenges that you've gone through, and you don't want to feel happy at this time. And that's okay.
Oh, nicely
It's
done.
okay. It's okay to be gentle on yourself. It's okay if you want to be away and just breathe and give yourself some love and some time. That's okay. You should do that.
I feel I felt that to my core, Phil. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. So lots of lovely advice there and resonances as well. James often says family of origin is for us to always have some work to be done. And yeah, I mean, that's hilarious. And people will be, if you've got questions for Coach Turner or for Phil on this matter, because some people will be saying, yeah, but you haven't met my racist Uncle Derek. There are certain people, who will be avoided or you won't be able to avoid at Christmas, and people might need some extra input from you, Phil, on those, which I'm sure you have. Bon dia alegria from Philomena. So Feel Good Friday with a sprinkling of Philomena as well. Bon fin de semana. Lots of love to you, Philomena. Thank you for being here this morning. Victoria, one of the original God Squad, Ian. We'll be having some
morning, Victoria.
Later today at the Marche de Noël in the Place d'Armée. She is in Luxembourg this morning, where I understand she's had the best hot chocolate ever. That's quite a challenge because, there are a lot of places would claim that title. But greetings from a cold and sunny Luxembourg. I tried all my good mornings this morning, fellas, and Moaz has challenged me to say good morning in Arabic. Oh, the best I can do in Arabic would be salam alaikum. to you.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's specifically good morning. That's more of a hello, isn't it, rather than a good morning. So teach us, please, William Moaz. Our pal Mark is in as well this morning too. Great to see you, Mark. And oh yeah, that was your comment there, wasn't it, Moaz Carl? Bet you can't say morning in Arabic. Can anyone read that for me on the screen there, gents? No, you can't. Even with the Qatar World Cup and its educational value, we still can't read that, can we? So, educational value, football value. How's it been for you, Michael? All of us are interested in the World Cup here, I think, in some way or other. Let's start with who has become our expert, our in-house expert and pundit, Michael. How's it been for you, World Cup 2022 in Qatar, Michael?
I mean, do you know what? It's interesting. It still feels bizarre, especially given this Christmas-themed podcast that, you know, it's been happening during this period. So I think it never felt like a normal World Cup, not just because it's in Qatar, but because of the time of year, because of the fact that we didn't really have the usual build-up. The players finished their mid-season break and then flew straight out, and we had the first game. So from my perspective, even with England losing the other day, I didn't feel that same disappointment. I think now, as it's finishing, and we'll be like, okay, we've got to wait another 4 years. Like from a football fan's perspective, I think you kind of start to feel that now. But it's just been a bit of a strange one. I'll be honest, I haven't really felt as engaged as in previous tournaments just because of that. I think it's just felt a bit odd. And obviously the negativity surrounding the circumstances with how Qatar were given the World Cup and, you know, things that have happened have kind of like left a little bit of a sour taste, shall we say. But I think the quality of the football has been good.
Yes.
The quality has been very high. The players are clearly fit. So from that perspective, it's been great. And I think the final will be amazing. You know, probably the two strongest teams that are left. I think it's going to be a great final. I hope Argentina win. I couldn't stand the idea of the French winning again. Apologies to any French viewers, but you know, as being English, that's just a cultural thing.
Yes.
You know, let's see, let the best team win. But I'm hopeful that Messi can bring it home.
And your mum delighted. We've got. Do you know we've got 2 Argentinian mums in our communities? It turns out. Found out yesterday that Lord Gilchrist's mum's from Argentina, and she's called Gentina. Funnily enough. So was your mum delighted by that great game?
Yeah, she was. The best thing was watching her sing the national anthem before. It was amazing.
Oh wow!
She stood up. Yeah, she stood up. It was great. Yeah, she was really excited. Yeah.
I bet you didn't do that when England played.
No, definitely not.
No. Phil, to your enjoyment of the World Cup or not this year?
Oh no, I'm going to give you a bit of advice that you should bear in mind for 4 years' time. And actually, it works for most major tournaments on a punting scale. 0-0 is a fantastic, correct score to do for the first 2 rounds of group games. Right. Regardless, just put £10 on 0. I made £200 net profit this year on 0-0 during the first 2 rounds of on a flat £10. So I would say that. So I loved the World Cup. It was fantastic. It paid for my coffees. What else can I tell you? I have also felt that disconnect. I have not felt connected to this World Cup for so many reasons. I mean, I'm sure that no money exchanged hands so that Qatar got the World Cup of that. That's definitely founded on truth. Well, I'm just hoping they might see this and give me money for being such a positive force. Yes. So I think, we were all feeling a little bit disillusioned about the whole thing. And there were so many Netflix programs, Prime programs about the financing of FIFA. And it's been the financing of world sport for so long, hasn't it, really? Samaranch, Haviland, they've all been at it to some degree. Yeah. The football I quite enjoyed. I think England were unlucky against France, but they got to the quarterfinal. I didn't expect them to go much further than that. I really want Argentina to win. But on the French thing, remember this, France is the reason we all ended up in Portugal, because we didn't want to go and live in France.
Yes, there is that, isn't there?
Just proving my point about good things come from bad situations.
Yeah, it's a good job Mrs. M missed that, but she loves France. But I think she would still be able to sympathise with the sentiments expressed there. And for other people in the world who are wincing and watching and thinking, "Oh, that's a bit off," that it's mutual, completely mutual, isn't it, between the French and the English? It's not like we are being especially horrid to the French. It's completely returned. I think it's just how we roll, isn't it, as a pair of nations?
I love the French. Genuinely, I do love the French. And their pastry is to die for. I mean, really, there isn't a. I mean, look at the size of me. I mean, most of this is French pastry. I've got to be straight with you.
A shoe in.
And I do, if you go to, for example, you should go to Quebec, and on the number plates in Canada, it has. Ontario is yours to discover. In Quebec, I don't know if it still does, but when I visited there some years ago, it said, Quebec, je me souviens, I remember. And what do they remember? They remember the English kicking the hell out of the French, and the French have been kicking the hell out of English ever since, right? Yeah. So you've got to love that, haven't you? That sort of... Oh. I always describe the French as the French don't really like the French, so they can't really stand the English.
That's it. That's also true, isn't it? Yeah. And I love the French banter. My French uncle always used to give it to me. It's like, I have tasted both your cheeses. All that kind of stuff. Coach Turner, lovely. And yeah, when I really broke his heart when I had my vegan phase and went, can you imagine being a vegan nephew of a French bon vivant? That is not living.
Oh wow!
He's not wrong.
Well, yeah, he's got a point. What about you, Ian? France and the World Cup, either or both.
Well, France, I love. And I could live quite happily in France, but I think I prefer Portugal for the people.
Yes.
So that's that one. World Cup has been some fantastic football, and I agree with Michael. The two best teams have got to the final, and the two or three best players as well. Yeah, Messi is just a joy to watch, and he plays the game with a huge smile on his face.
Yes,
which makes you just go, oh, that's rather cool. Compared with a certain Portuguese player who never seems to enjoy himself on the pitch.
Yes, interesting insight. And he doesn't mind a tear up off the pitch, Messi, does he? I loved it when he was getting into a bit of aggro he was being heckled, wasn't he? By one of
the... that's something that I admire, obviously, because it's in my blood. There's an ability that the Argentines have to provoke the opposition, and the way they did it against the Dutch was quite fantastic, even though in the end the Dutch came back and drew and they had to go to penalties. But before that, it was, there are Dutch players like, for example, Van Dijk. You see when he plays for Liverpool, I've never seen that guy as angry in my life as when he was playing against Argentina, because the Argentine players were just whispering things in his ear, just saying provocative things with a straight face and calm. So I don't admire that. Yeah, I don't admire the diving, but the banter and putting the opposition off by saying things probably about his mother and God knows what else. Like that, I can respect that in the heat of battle. So that was quite interesting.
It's like Aussies playing cricket, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, absolutely like that. Chilled Phil, incoming for you is spot on with the not wanting to live in France. It's not that I don't like French people. I love a caveat like that. It's not that I don't like French people. It's just such a weird vibe around, particularly the special type of patriarchy and ego-based communication. Is it just me? But a French person could say exactly the same thing in the UK probably as well, couldn't they? That special sense of entitlement. What are they like? French,
bloody arrogant English.
Yes, that's right. What? Portuguese, Spanish. These national rivalries. It's in a way sort of a difficult and sensitive time to be talking about these things, but they can be quite educational and affirming in their own way if they're not taken too seriously, right? And this is true as well, isn't it? The British secretly love France and the French, and us.
I don't think we're that secret about it.
Well, that's right, and the women certainly aren't, are they? I mean, I was singing to...
Careful, the hole. Get out the hole.
No, I'm going in. The part of my love of France is the music, French music. And then I rediscovered She by Charles Aznavour. Now they've got it down. Exactly. If you want to play it on the piano, I'll sing it.
Oh.
No, okay.
Can't beat Notting Hill.
I will say one thing about the French, and this has always been something that I've never understood, because we put Paris on a pedestal as being like the capital of the world when it comes to fashion, right? And obviously probably the same with Milan and Italy. But I remember doing French exchanges, and you'd see the French kids coming into school, and I'd be like, "What are you wearing, mate?"
Yes,
honestly,
double denim.
Yeah, the double denim and so that was just the thing I never understood. I don't know if that's just a Norwich thing that we'd probably find a school in France. Yeah,
Norwich.
You'd probably
Norwich.
have like a exchange with a weird school in France, you know, somewhere like, I don't know, probably a bit off key in the middle of nowhere. But that was just always the thing. You'd see them in the playground, they'd stand out like a sore thumb with all these bright like colours and their maps and stuff. It's just a bit weird. I don't know.
Hold on, let me just put your mic. Sorry. Go on, carry on.
When I did my French exchanges, they did like a pattern. You know, they've got a fondness for. Is my mic actually on?
Your mic is on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they got a fondness for like a paisley print and things like that. But I'm talking back in the 90s when I was doing French exchanges. Yours are probably in the 2000s, were they?
No, 90s as well. 90s as well. Yeah.
I remember having French exchanges coming over with wallabies.
Who doesn't like a French exchange?
Yeah, they were wearing wallaby shoes, which is like early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s. So they'd got it maybe a few years later.
That was it. Yeah, but that's exactly it.
They had all the colours.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the Doc Martin boots phase that we all got rid of by about 95 when we got rid of our curtain haircuts, they were still rocking that in like 99.
Yes, true. So true. And Louise is mentioning the French exchange there. This is where English kids went to learn to drink and smoke, isn't it? Obviously.
Yes.
I had my first cigarette in France when I was about 11.
Yeah, and you come back with a flick knife and some bangers.
Totally.
I was just saying to Carl just a couple of days ago that my recollection of going on French exchanges was that the French kids were a lot more advanced than us. I mean, they were all talking about who they'd slept with, and they all had mopeds and stuff. And we're all like 14, 15, way before I was even thinking about, well, I was thinking about boys, but not doing anything about it. And there you go.
Right, Norfolk, we have the highest teenage pregnancy rate in the whole of Europe.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So that was never a problem.
Is that Norwich?
Nothing else to do.
Exactly, literally, except in breathe. Did I say that?
I wasn't allowed to go on a French exchange. The school wouldn't let me because I was a bad boy. Really? I was smoking Gauloises long before you lot got to Paris. I can tell.
There was nothing they could teach you. There was nothing they could teach you.
And actually, smoking Gauloises definitely improves your French accent. So if you ever want to sound like a Frenchman, you just pretend that you've just smoked 20 Gauloises. You go, my name's Jean-Pierre. I smoke Gauloises.
It makes you feel philosophical as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Within all of these racial stereotypes, there is some grain of truth, and that's why they persist.
What I like is the pitch of the language. You know, I lived there for 5 years, and in that time, my voice lowered because, like, French women actually have quite a low voice, I think, unless you get them really like riled up. But yeah,
I wouldn't recommend that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, well, this is great. Wasn't quite...
I love France, but I haven't been back for 20 years, so it really have changed. We should find out.
Mental and physical fitness for the festivities and France this morning.
And the World Cup.
And the World Cup.
And the World Cup.
You know what? I actually want Argentina to win.
Okay. You're not alone.
So here's my prediction, just to do this thing.
Yes.
Argentina have one genius player. France have two.
Oh.
So Griezmann and Mbappe, I think, may just be the difference between the two sides. Yes. That's my prediction. I would love to see Messi lift that trophy because he's just been the outstanding player of the last 10, 15 years.
Yes. But don't forget Alvarez for Argentina as well.
He played really well.
That's when, because if you think about it, when Argentina lost their first game against Saudi Arabia, I thought this is going to be it. We're done. In fact, when they scored the second goal, I left to go and get to go and get chicken from my favorite chicken place in Lisbon called
Wow,
Valenciana.
you must have been upset, man.
I was so pissed off. And
Yes.
and then the second or the third game, the coach decided to start playing Alvarez, and since then Messi's had like a focal point. And to me, what excites me, and again, probably my heart will be broken again on Sunday, but what excites me is that I think with the World Cup, a team has to come into form at the right time. And the fact that we played our best game in the semis, if France will probably win, but if Argentina can start really strong and get a goal early, if the French score first, we're done. Game over. But if Argentina score first, the French will get a bit nervous. They're not. Do you know what surprised me about France, especially against England? They're so passive. They just sit there and wait. The problem is, and Ian, you said it perfectly about Griezmann, and he's kind of been like the player that doesn't get as much praise as he should. The way he just nicks the ball in midfield, and then they just break so quickly with Mbappe on the left, and that's where they're dangerous. But if Argentina can somehow neutralize that and get an early goal,
if they can take Griezmann out of the game,
exactly.
In whatever way they happen to,
whatever way, start insulting his family, his haircut, whatever, it doesn't matter. Then that'll be.
But he's a delight to watch because he's one of those players that doesn't seem to do much, and then the effect it has on the game is astonishing.
Skills. Okay, fantastic. I'm not ignoring you, Moaz, and you do make some interesting points here. And this has been the ongoing controversy, of course, of the World Cup. I wonder if the World Cup was held in the US, if anyone would talk about the millions of people who died in Iraq, I'd be happy to. I'm not happy to, but yes, of course, you can make that point. The black men who died because of police brutality, the separation of illegal kids from their parents, and you will get that chance because that is where the World Cup will be hosted. And it will be. It's the next one is going to be in North America, isn't it? Is it US, Canada, and Mexico? Sorry, so not North America, but isn't it a trilateral World Cup next time, Michael?
So it's going to be the US, Canada, and Mexico.
Yeah. And those points can and should be made. No problem with that, Moaz, whatsoever. There has been a lot of. What would it be called? Double standards with the criticisms of Qatar. No question about that. So, and we're not defending that in any way.
Hypocrisy.
Yep. Go on, Phil.
Well, the Americans are the world's best at bribery and corruption. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Yes. So some plain speaking here. Yep.
Well, they've had tax evasion in America better than anywhere else in the world for decades. If you've never watched the film Laundromat, I think that's kind of an interesting one. I mean, I know it's not necessarily based all on truth, but it gives you some idea onto how the financial markets are run in America. Yeah,
but at least you can't buy politicians in America, can you? Oh, hold on.
Say again?
You can't buy politicians in America.
Oh no. Unless you want to.
Right? Yes, Phil. Phil. Sorry.
Hello?
To be fair, I
actually
think that's the world over, not just America.
Well, that's right, but that's of course what was going on with Qatar, wasn't it? I think understandably, Arab people, the Qataris felt unjustly treated. When it's like, well, hold on a minute, everyone's up to this. The finger is pointing, is it not, at the 1% partly, and the ruling elite and however they behave in the world. So yes, nobody was really in a position to throw any stones, and there were some double standards and some hypocrisy. I think that's what you were saying, Ian.
Yeah, absolute hypocrisy. But the politicians are cheaper in the UK.
Yes, clearly, aren't they just? So that's where you. So what, on an index of best value for politicians, UK is doing pretty good at the moment.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Seems to have helped Putin out.
Yeah, a lot of corruption in the US, says the OLP here. No one escapes our steely gaze here, do they? Hopefully not too many double standards for us here. And number 11, what's that mean? Is that a prediction there for the top scorer or something along those lines? USA basically put was a good idea that got out of hand.
And Murray.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know the British comedian, that isn't AI Murray, a computer that came up with that. That is Al Murray, the British comedian there.
Pub landlord.
Yes, the pub landlord speaking the truth. I like Mrs. M. I love France and the French language, and I'm rooting for France. There you go, is Moaz and Bondi all from the OLP. Now we've forgotten, haven't we, in the way that Santos is only being hammered for his for the disappointment of people. There's this as well. There's not much of a spotlight and a limelight for the third place.
I always think that's gutting though. You have to wait until the third and fourth playoff. Like nobody cares. It must be horrible. You just want to go home. You've lost the semi-final. You just want to go home.
I think the Moroccans care.
Maybe they do care more. Yeah, maybe.
Yes,
they've outperformed what they expected to do. So,
and that'll be Croatia, Morocco, will it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes. And what do you make of that, or you just don't care, Michael?
Well, no, I mean, look, by the way, we haven't mentioned Morocco. Fair play. I mean, they've been unbelievably good. And I think, first African team to get to the semi-finals. And I thought they were really unlucky against France. I thought France were quite fortunate getting the early goal. And I thought Morocco controlled periods of the game, had good chances, just not quite good enough. And that's what gives me hope that Argentina will do France on Sunday. Because I think had it been Argentina with some of those chances, we'd have probably won. But no, but it's great. It's great that they can play that game. I just feel like even for the Moroccan players, given the disappointment of losing, I just feel like they never play the first team. It'll be the squad players that get a chance to play, which is great as well. But I always feel it's a little bit like nobody really cares about the third and fourth.
I can understand when you put it like that, of course, and the whole attention is on Sunday, of course. 3:00, is that the kickoff?
Yeah, 3:00 tomorrow.
3:00, and then how will you cope with the inevitable post-World Cup blues that many football fans? I mean, it's been it's
Christmas.
It's Christmas and Boxing Day. We've got the Premier League starting again and most other leagues. So the disappointment is short. There's not time to breathe. It's football 24/7, baby. So we can't be
rugby's still on.
And rugby as well,
and cricket as well. So mentions of other sports this morning. We're not getting many questions about how to cope at Christmas from a mental and physical point of view. Maybe we've done that.
Just on Sunday, I have my whole family arriving, all my children, all 5 of them, and 8 grandchildren.
Oh,
fabulous. So there will be 21 of us. Is that?
You get the award for the most Christmassy Christmas. He's rocking it at the moment, isn't he?
I mean, I noticed we haven't put any video of our Christmas decorations on.
We haven't yet. There's all
I
of
don't
next
think we
week.
should because everyone else has got really Christmassy .
Oh, there's nothing in the studio. There's just a green. Okay, we'll do that for Christmas week next week for sure.
Christmassy green stream.
Coach Turner, if the Christmas was a World Cup, you'd win it. I mean, that's incredible. You got
there'd be 20 of us. So.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Okay, Portuguese Antonio F. Fernando Santos could have done better with his national team, but to be fair, he was the one. This is what you were saying, Michael, right? He was the one that got us our titles in international football. This is long forgotten, isn't it? And shouldn't be. The European Championship of 2016 and the League of Nations 2019. So, what would life be like? I mean, he's going to have quite an interesting Christmas, isn't he, with that on his shoulders?
Well, he'll get a nice payoff from the Portuguese FA, which I imagine will be very welcome. It'll be in the millions of euros. Yeah. And I mean, for me, that 2016 was such a special year. It was the year my son was born. It was the year that Leicester won the Premier League, and it was the year that Portugal won the Euros. And it all happened within the space of a couple of months. And it just, when that happened, I just felt like, wow, this shows that anything is possible. Like, this is just beautiful and amazing. And and obviously Santos has had a lot to do with that success. So I think it's a shame that his legacy has been a little bit tainted by how he's been treated. But
could change in time, couldn't it? Norwich aren't in the Premiership. I think Michael knows that, but that's your fellow.
No, but that's Mark. No, but he's from Norwich as well. Good lad. No, it's true. But the great thing, Mark, was that we saw Norwich beat Swansea last Saturday. So while the World Cup was still happening, the Championship restarted. So
yes,
that was great.
Okay. OLP is rooting for France. Go on, Phil.
I've just got a quick question, Michael. Who do you support?
Norwich City for my sins.
You do support Norwich City, okay? Yeah. Well, that makes more sense. Whereas I know Mark supports West Ham like myself. So so he's actually it's not a Norwich thing, is it? I wondered if you supported Leicester City. I wondered whether actually Norwich.
He's the typical fan who's born in Norfolk but doesn't want to support Norwich because they're a bit rubbish. So he supports
Yeah.
yeah. So there are more Manchester United fans in Great Yarmouth than there are in Manchester. Put it
That's true. Some more advice.
Just think, I was born in Leicester and supported West Ham. What was I thinking?
Indeed.
I know, right?
I could be a Premiership winner now.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Ye of little faith.
So Mourinho for managing Portugal. How's that?
Oh, I hope not.
Really?
Maybe. I mean, maybe he'll probably think he can do it a bit later. I reckon he'll do it when he's a bit older. But
yes,
might be interesting. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Advice for coping at Christmas: drink, eat, and be merry. Well, that's a good. Yes, definitely. And as Coach Turner's telling us, go out for a walk between some of those activities as well. And of course, that is part of some people's Christmas activities, isn't it? Just to have a lovely big walk on Boxing Day, and with your 21 people in your house, that'll be lovely. Can you imagine getting all those kids ready on Boxing Day? Okay, let's go out for a walk at 1 o'clock. 3:30, and kids are still trying to put their shoes on. Come on, just come out without your shoes. Oh, God's sake. Phil, were you going to add something to that?
Yeah, well, you should reverse them, actually. Be merry, eat and drink.
Yeah,
you'll feel much happier if you go in with a be merry attitude. You'll feel much happier during the whole season.
And that's why we have you here. And I loved your
I thought you were going to say just like kind of bundle them into the back of a van and then reverse into wherever you're going for a walk
with the kids.
You know, because we have sometimes just like put shoes and coats and socks in the car, and then bundled our kids into the car and driven off to where we're going, and then it's like, get your shoes on.
Yes, and have we got both shoes now that we're here? No, you're going to have just wear one shoe.
And they always put them on the wrong feet, don't they?
Yes, what are the chances? Every time. Anyway, Phil, I loved it. What you were saying earlier on your dream board, and we know you're a big fan and advocate of the dream board. You set the tone for how you would like your family relationships to be, rather than what I think some people are doing at this time of year is just walking into a certain kind of inevitability that they remember from the past. Now, what is the benefit have you found? And clearly it's coming true for you of doing this. And how does that work?
Okay, so look, we kind of do this with everything. Yeah. And we believe that let's say you believe in God, the universe, another deity, whatever your force of life. Maybe you don't believe in any of it, but you believe that it's all down to you. All of this is true. But we believe that, so if I take it as the universe, I'll talk about the universe. The universe is like a huge sat nav. Now, if you go in your car and you get in and turn on the sat nav, but you don't put a destination in, where do you get to? Well, wherever you drive to, but there's no real purpose to it, is there? Yeah. We all get in the car now. We put in the destination. It's the first thing we do. Dream board to destination. Ian would have done it with anybody he's coached. They'll all had destinations of where they're aiming for.
Yes. Except me.
So you can do the same with relationships. Yeah, you can do the same with relationships around money, around jobs, around wanting to go and live in Portugal or spending your life in a camper van. You can do all of these things. You put in the destination. Having put into the destination, into the sat nav, what must you do? Switch on the engine and start driving. So start taking ownership of those little steps that you can take. You don't have to work out how. You just have to go. You know, if you go the wrong way, the sat nav directs you back online, doesn't it? And it's kind of the same with the universe. You go, just take some steps. I mean, I've got to learn Portuguese. Maybe the first thing I should do is actually spend some time doing it, you know?
Yes.
Maybe I should just take that baby step, not work out, oh, maybe I should do this one, or maybe I should do that one, or maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. No, just go and do it, Phil. And so that's what we did. And so it's been like a 10-year accumulation. But now it's interesting that, you know, where we say like-minded friends, most of those people who I considered to be good friends, but actually were quite negative, have actually dropped by the wayside for whatever reason, which is kind of interesting. And a new set of people who have brought new thinking and new ideas, new skills, have come in. So that's kind of I didn't plan it that way. It's just the way it happened.
Very good. Very good.
And this time of year is the time when you meet the most negative of people. I mean, just remember, the last time everybody was on your side was when you were learning to walk. You know, nobody, when you fell over, nobody said, "Oh, don't worry, Phil, just sit there, it'd be all right."
He's always like
stay
that.
there for the rest of your life. You know, you're obviously walking, it's not for you. You know, what do you want to walk for? All of those things. But you know, that was the last time. Every time I've had an idea since then, I promise you, somebody in my world has come around and said, "Oh, are you sure you want to do that?" Or "What about this?" Or "What about that?" It's only their reflection upon you. Upon themselves, sorry. It's only what they're seeing in the mirror.
Well, thanks for that.
If you're successful at something, where does that leave them?
Yes, true. Now, what is it? What are those exact words for people who are taking the baby steps? Was it happy relationships? And what was the
yes, I do. I do like-minded friends.
Yes.
Friends,
and
I do. Good family relationships is one that's up there.
Yeah.
Donate £1 million to charity. How cool would that be?
And this is
to have £1 million to just. This is. I wake up. These are pictures representing all of these things. Some with them written on, and they're on. We use one of these printing places. We put all the pictures on. We have them printed onto large posters, which are Velcro to the roof of the van. So we wake up and we go to sleep looking at them and giggling most days, to be honest with you, because so many of them happen. We have to keep on updating them.
Good. That's great stuff. And yes, definitely the Portuguese thing. Get out there and, you don't want to be stuck in the van conjugating yourself silly. I've got to say that Michael is my great inspiration when it comes to speaking Portuguese. The first time we met, we went for lunch together, not far from where a lot of, I think, Benfica players live on the Aroeira estate. We were outside the compound. We met up for lunch. And this fella, this British gentleman who took me out for lunch was talking to the waiter in Portuguese, and he became my benchmark. I just thought this is amazing how Michael is communicating with the waiter here, and that was a real moment for me, Michael. It was great, obviously, meeting you, and look at us today. Here we are. But there you were conversing with the waiter, and I just thought that's how I want to be here, and so that's where I learned most of my Portuguese is in cafes and restaurants, which was great too. Go on, Ian.
So, quick question for Michael: were you brought up speaking Spanish as well as English?
Yes, I was. And you would think that would make learning Portuguese easier, but it didn't. Honestly, it was such a hard slog. I remember when I first moved here, watching the news one of the first days and just not understanding a word and thinking, I'm never, ever going to learn this language. And I was lucky because I worked for a Portuguese law firm for about 3 years. I remember after about a year, I had to say to my colleagues, look, from now on, when we're meetings together, just speak in Portuguese. You can't speak to me in English anymore. And I remember for about 6 months after that, I really suffered. And then it was just all of a sudden as if your head was being lifted, sort of desubmerged from water, and it just suddenly just clicked. And then once you have the confidence to understand it, then speaking it is a joy. But yeah, for me, it was not an easy road. So when that lunch happened with Carl, that would have been, what, 2017? Was it, Carl?
2017.
Yeah, so I'd already been here 3 years. So that was probably the point where I first started to really speak and understand it properly. But yeah, so
for me though, Michael, I didn't know that. You just looked like you spoke fluent. It sounded to me, it's like when I take my relatives or friends from England now to a cafe. There can be moments where they look at me and go, "Wow, you're fluent," and I go, "Yeah, I am actually." And then the waiter comes back and says something. Next bit, and clearly I'm not. But you to me were just a fantastic model in that moment of what could be possible, and it was great. It was really, really inspiring. I don't think I've ever told you that.
It's interesting you say that because the same thing happened to me with bizarrely a French colleague at the law firm. His Portuguese was astounding, and I remember looking at him and thinking, yeah, like you're my inspiration. Like I want to be able to, and the same to you. I want to be able to go into a restaurant and just speak Portuguese to the waiter, order my food, order what I wanted, say a couple of things and leave. That to me was always the initial aim. And I think, the great thing about languages is, imagine the other subjects you've done at school or in higher education or whatever. Like with a language, you can't, there's no shortcuts. You can't cram information. You can't leave it to the last minute to study and then pass the exam. Like it's a continuous thing.
Yes.
And the beautiful thing about it is it never ends. It never ends. So you're never 100% fluent. You know, even in English, our native language, we can learn new words and new things every day. So I think that's the beauty of it. It's a continuous process, and it's a joy. And I think once you do start to learn some of the language initially, you learn so much more about the country and the culture as well. So I think it is it's a wonderful thing to be able to do. And then all I'd say to people is just don't lose patience or hope, because honestly, I thought it was never going to happen for me, and I was brought up speaking Spanish, so I thought it would be straightforward, but it really wasn't. It wasn't easy. But you get to a point where you feel that once, it's a bit like when you learn to drive, you sort of get to that initial curve of like learning, and then you feel the confidence to carry on. But it wasn't easy at all.
The reason I asked the question is not because it was Spanish, but because you would have been brought up with two languages.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, my experience of people that are actually brought up as children with two languages is that they do find it easier than other people to learn another language because their brain is wired differently.
That sounds right.
It's very much like learning to run or play a sport or a musical instrument. Once you've learnt it once, it's then more wired in. You still need to practice.
Yeah.
But the nervous system is wired in then to shortcut so that you find it a lot easier than other people would.
Good
and
point.
the brain is the same thing. So that was the reason I asked the question, not because it was Spanish particularly.
Yeah, well, Philomena's responded to that. People tend to think that knowing Spanish makes it easy to learn Portuguese, but they are two different languages, and you've made that clear.
I was wondering if you were able to read Portuguese much sooner than you could speak and hear it, like listen to it, because I mean, obviously, when if you go and shop at Aldi or Lidl or wherever, you know, I pick something up and I think, oh, this is this because of what I've read, and then I realize I'm actually reading Spanish. I learned Spanish at school. And so, you know, there are lots of words that aren't the same, but there's a lot of commonality as well.
Yes.
So I wondered if that might happen. I mean, I agree with what you're saying there, Ian, in as much as, you know, I lived in France for 5 years and I studied it at school. And so although it's taken me 5 years to actually get round to actually applying myself to learn Portuguese, when I have my lessons, because she's also a fluent French speaker, we really sort of play with it, you know, already knowing how to speak a second language has really helped me to learn a third or to help me start learning a third. It's not as overwhelming. But obviously I'm a real novice still, but I'm learning it really quickly. It's fun.
Philomena has a lovely suggestion for us for the next few days, because this whole thing about the blues after the football, not necessarily because we're going straight into Christmas, and maybe who knows, FIFA might move it to Christmas permanently as a result, but we're not going to get that this year. And you've got to wait till March until basketball begins over in the States. Something to keep you occupied here in Portugal is the show Impossível ao Vivo, with 5 excellent international magicians. They are performing in GuMPer now, and I'm going on Sunday. They are performing in Lisbon, Faro, Porto until January the 14th. I'm sure it's a fantastic show. Luís de Matos is fabulous. There you go. Top. Maybe he's the Paul Daniels of Portugal. Or not a lot. Okay. Okay. Let's do. We got dad jokes, and I wanted to just. I'd love to squeeze in how you all feel about resolutions, and if you've got any. I mean, Phil, you kind of laid it out there. A great way to deal with resolutions is perhaps not to set yourself up for too much, you know, on or off failure or triumph, but certainly to have those messages around you, how you want to resolve and begin the new year. Do you want to add something to that?
Yeah. Look, get a piece of A4, put happy in the middle of it, and surround it with a circle, and blast down in no particular order all over the piece of paper the things that make you happy.
Marvelous.
Right, and then create a dream board from it.
Okay, there you go. And that's
just do that as your resolution. The rest of the year will take care of itself.
Isn't that fabulous? And you know, that's got to be better in it than sitting like a bloater at the kitchen table, thinking to yourself, well, I need to lose some weight in the new year. I know, I'll make a resolution to lose some weight in the new year. How many people have succeeded on that basis? Not many. Coach Turner, becoming a bit more of a fitter bon viveur. What might you suggest for 2023?
Well, I think I'll pick up on Phil's baby steps route.
Yes.
Just a little bit at a time. I mean, I've said this all along. It wasn't with Phil's prompting, but just do a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, if you set yourself up to fail if you say, right, I'm going to do exercise every single day. No, you just set yourself up to fail. Just do a little bit. Go out for a walk. A walk. I don't understand people that don't enjoy walking personally, even if it's just a short walk to the coffee shop.
Yes.
Which is what I'm going to do shortly.
Good on you. Michael's laptop battery went. Love to you,
I
all.
wondered,
So he's just sent me a message.
there.
He's just sent me a message. He wasn't disgusted. He wasn't disgusted by the idea of resolution. So
I thought I drifted off and thought, oh God, did everyone say goodbye? And I didn't.
Was he ever here? He was here, and he's gone. Nominia, nom de plume. Look at that. Bit of toing and froing. Sarah's in as well. Not Nike. Yeah, just do something. Nice one, James.
Just do something.
Yeah, just do something. Let's go to the dad jokes.
You're not going to ask me what I would recommend?
No, of course not. You're an NLP hypnotherapist astrologer. What would you know about setting intentions?
Yeah.
Go on. Go on.
I do love vision boards myself, and you like post-it notes. But one of the things that I know and about me and Carl, we're both very auditory. So for us, our ears and our voices are really important, more so than the eyes. And we use that kind of language a lot more. And in the past, what I've done is I go for walks like you do, Ian. I love walking. And I talk to myself and I imagine I'm having a conversation, talking about how great it is living the life I'm living, like my dream life. And so I will effectively, I'm talking rubbish. And I imagine I'm just having a chat with somebody, or even I have thought maybe I've been like a guest on a show, you know, and they're asking me about how did I achieve this, and so I say, well, it's really funny, you know, this happened and then this happened, and I create this kind of story in my head, and each time the story is different, but every time I talk it through, I get that really warm feeling, and so I talk myself into it rather than look at it. And I also use questions. So I ask myself, how might this happen? How might I find myself in this situation? I wonder, let's be curious now. And then I just do nothing, because like what you were saying, Phil, is that life will find you what your consciousness is aiming you towards.
Your sat nav.
Yeah, your
nice
sat
one,
nav.
Mrs. M. Thank you very much for that as well.
Well, I was sorry to interrupt, Carl. I was just pondering on the sort of visual board thing, and I tend to have pictures in my head rather than needing. So I've probably got that vision board just in my head of what I see life like in 5-10 years time. And try and keep it there and kind of map a way towards it. So that, you know, I've got my sat nav in my head.
Well, it's funny. My timeline is a visual in my head as well. Although it's more with words and a few pictures. But I would imagine also when you're walking and creating things, you're also feeling it in your body, given how physical you are.
There you go. We saw it.
So you not just like, obviously we'll know about like visual mental rehearsal, but I would imagine that, you know, when you're like doing, I don't know if you were doing a vision board or visualizing in your head, I imagine that your body would start to hold some of the muscles in the right places to be doing this.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally. There's a great story about a guy who was in a Japanese war prison. A prisoner of war who wanted to learn to play golf, and he visualized it, and when he got back and picked up a golf club, he went round in, you know, about 5 over par, and he'd never played before, and the whole thing was done in his head.
That's chilling, isn't it? That tells you something about this computer we've got, right? So when we started this morning, I think it was Antonio Barbosa's comment.
Yes.
The problem with computers is we're beginning to think like them rather than have them think like us. We have that computing and power available, don't we, to create a future like that. It gives me chills just thinking about the potential of that. And that's an extraordinary in that adversity, somebody doing that and being the proof that we have this incredible system available to us if only we choose to use it. That's our free will, isn't it? I suppose.
Correct.
Yes. All right. So
Wow.
a feel good Friday, a bit of fuzziness to end with. We got these lovely contributions from T-Duck and James.
There's lots of language.
We will come back to those as well. Then the only way to have a friend is to be one. Ralph.
That's
so you.
nice.
But as you were saying, Phil, right? You know, after everyone's given up on you, when you've learned to walk, you have to be your best friend, don't you?
I really loved how you said that.
Yeah,
because that never occurred to me. Because we do love our children and support them.
Yes.
Unequivocally, I think that's beautiful.
And as happens here, none of this is planned, but look, mistakes are proof that you're trying. Anonymous, that's a deep thought as well. I wonder if the Portuguese saying is applicable too. Quanto mais depressa, mais devagar. The faster, the slower, more speed, less taste. That's baby steps, isn't it? And Hugo Nuno. Britain might have been the most publicized and famous country to abolish slavery in 1833, but Portugal did it sooner, 1819. Well done, Portugal. Oh, okay. So we do have some. And look at this lovely thought. 101 sleeps till Minister of Home Affairs and I are back in Portugal, says Deagle this morning. And yes, he's right to say, keep lighting up Christmas and send pictures and videos.
Oh yeah, have you got a thingamajig today?
I don't think I've got time to squeeze it in, but do keep them coming. Do keep them coming, please. And we'll end with the dad jokes because you're going to need these, aren't you? With 21 people in the house, you're going to be the man of the moment. So we've got some material for you.
I'll be cooking.
That's right. And you can try these out on Lady K when you get back to the van as well, Phil. Got to go visualize my dreams here and going to bed. I speak English, says Sarah. Eu falo português. Eu hablo espanhol. Jex na karnushk. Jag talar svenska. Very good. Polyglot.
Oh, wow.
And you read Italian. She's just showing off now with the Italian and Danish there as well. If you use visual reminders,
I can eat Danish.
Same here, Phil. Yes. Best thing for it, isn't it, really? If you use visual reminders, notes, boards, etc., be sure to move them around to different locations every so often. Otherwise, you accommodate and even stop seeing. Yes, that's another part of the human that we should maybe be aware of as well. Bob, earlier on.
Well, these guys do move it around because every time they drive to a new location,
they
are.
Not just that, but every few months we have to change it all up anyway. So it's always there. But I take that point. It is very easy to get set in rut, in just doing the same thing all the time.
Well, that's our safety, isn't it? As humans, we do need to get used to things and embed things, but it can go against us, of course. Bob said earlier on, seeing you wrapped up, Phil, reminded him of the Colorado he's glad to have moved from. I think that was.
I love Colorado. Colorado.
Looks so beautiful. The photos I've seen from Bob and John and Pam are just amazing. We have written ourselves a letter. We see where we see ourselves a year or even 6 months from now. Very good. That is how we got to Portugal. We had a picture of being able to do what we want, when we want, and with whom we want to. By Randy, thank you as well for your comments this morning, by Randy. And
sounds like his family very talented.
They are a very talented family. I know that for a fact. Okay, sorry if I've missed anything. Sorry if I haven't shared your pictures and videos, but we've got all of next week. We will be working from Monday to Friday next week, and it'll be a very festive studio here, I think, won't it?
We'll be now. Sure now we've made that goal.
We'll make that's
I tell you what, we should maybe get some make some white snowflakes and stick it to the
best kind of snowflakes.
Better than yellow.
Christmas.
Yes.
Yes, no brown or yellow snow in the
There's plenty of those out here. The dogs walkers.
Look, Daddy, I've got some ice for the snowman. Put that down. Egyptian pharaohs were usually buried at a specific time. Tutankhamun.
Oh,
that's good. Come on.
Yeah, it's good because I didn't get it straight away. That is good. It did.
Natal one yet?
I haven't. What was my Felicia Natal one? What was that?
The one from Jay Atkinson.
No, yes. What is the best kind of Christmas sweaters are made out of? What? Fleece Navidad.
Oh, okay.
Fleece Navidad. Thank you, Jay, for that.
Christmas jumpers. I think the joke was.
Is that what I said? Anyway, my wife came home complaining about the cashier being a royal biatch. I asked if she was at self-checkout. That's when the fight started.
I I love
Yes. And a Christmassy one from the T-Duck. These are brilliant. Thank you, T-Duck. Oh, and I've lost your kid joke that you formulated for us this morning, James. We'll do that one on Monday when we see you on Monday, of course, for some mindful migration. If you hear someone sing Jingle Bells and you don't respond with Batman Smells, then I don't want to be friends with you. That's true, isn't it? Yes.
It is.
Grandad Billy lost his willy on the M1 motorway is the other part of that as well, isn't it? So, thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been fantastic. We lost Michael Heron in action, but we're wishing him all the best. Phil, great effort, wrapping up and being outside for a whole show. You legend.
Have the most amazing season of goodwill. Just do what you want, enjoy it fully, and just stroll gently into 23. You don't have to own it. Just walk through the door and embrace it.
Bless you, mate. Thank you very much. Coach Turner, what a lovely gathering you're looking forward to. And you're cooking for 21, are you?
Yeah. Cooking. So we got little ones, so we've got all sorts of bits and pieces. They sort of all sorts of things, from olives to smoked meats to they're really quite being brought up proper. So not cooking for the little ones so much, but I'm doing a jambalaya, which will be nice and spicy, and some more traditional roast chicken, veg, roast potatoes, that sort of stuff.
Just sounds.
So there's a selection, because there's lots of. We don't have any. Or we have 2 or 3 with allergies, but no veggies.
Really, that's interesting.
But some don't like spicy foods, and others don't like plain foods. So I always have to make at least 2 or 3 different.
A jolly jambalaya at Christmas time would be what exactly?
Oh, it'll have chicken and prawns and chorizo and rice, and it'll be it's a one pot dish, which makes life a lot easier.
In there, that's right, with the lucky prawns and bits of chicken and chorizo in there. Fantastic. Thank you both. Thank you both for your continued
always a pleasure
and inspiration throughout the year. It's been a fantastic 2022. Thanks largely in part to you both. You're an important part. Super GuMPers. And we will see you in 2023. All the very best to you. Thank you, everybody, for your lovely comments and contributions this morning as well. We'll have a great weekend. Bon fin semana. And we'll see you on Monday. Thank you, everybody. Lots of love.
Ciao.
And
Ciao.
Bye for now. Where's that outro? Here it is. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GuMPer morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GuMPer.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, GuMPers.
You have to determine how flexible you are. Like, you have to be a flexible, adaptable person. And I think knowing yourself is really important, because you have to know, like, can you go with the flow on that? Are you going to be able to be okay? Are you going to be able to adjust? Are you not going to be able to find, the kind of peanut butter you like? And is that going to crush your world?
Is that a deal breaker?
Well, honestly, because